Hello and welcome to Learn with Hema's class. My dear students, this video is of ICSE class 10 from the subject Literature in English, in which the treasure chest, poem number 3, When Great Trees Fall. This video provides you the question and answers, that is a solution from the Evergreen workbook. Multiple choice questions, I'll come up with a separate video. Before going ahead with the actual answers, I would request you to please do like and subscribe my channel and help me reach 100k subscribers. So quickly moving ahead with the video. This is the passage 1 from the workbook. As I said, this is a revised edition. You might find some questions different or twisted, but more or less they are same. If you find that there is any question which is missing in your last year's workbook, you can put it down in the comment box and I will surely get back to you with the answers. So when great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder, lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants slumber after safety. So this is our first passage, that is the first stanza. Question 1. What does great trees represent in the poem? In the poem, the words great trees represent great men. Their death has been equated with the fall of a great or a big tree. What does the shuddering of rocks on distant hills symbolize? The shuddering of rocks on distant hills symbolizes the far-reaching impact of the death of great men. Their death affects the people living far away also. How do animals behave when great trees fall? Why? When a great tree falls, animals get shocked. Lions also bend down and hide in grass. Elephants start walking in a strange way to seek shelter at some safe place. Their behavior undergoes change because they get afraid of the sudden shock. What happens to small things when great trees fall? Small things, including little creatures in the forest, also feel frightened on the fall of a great tree. They recoil, sit huddled together and turn silent out of fear. Which words are used in this extract give us the idea that the fall of great trees impact all? Answer. The words rocks on distant hills shudder and even elephants slumber for safety give the idea that the fall of great trees impact all. Their fall is felt at distant places also. This is the passage 2, second stanza. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. First question. What does the fall of great trees symbolize in the poem? The fall of great trees in the poem symbolizes the death of great men. Second question. What happens to big animals when great trees fall? Answer. Big animals get frightened. Their behavior changes. Animals like lions and elephants also run to seek shelter at some safe places. What happens to small things when great trees fall? Small things turn silent and their senses become numb. They recoil and sit huddled in fear. Explain the meaning of their senses eroded beyond fear. Their senses eroded beyond fear means that these small creatures are so shocked on the fall of a big tree that their senses fail to realize the intensity of the fear. They get dazed. When great men die, what kind of clarity do we all have of a sudden? When great men die, all of us remember the time spent in their company very clearly. We also regret that we could be more kind to them during their stay with us. This is the passage 3, that is the third stanza. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly, our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Question 1. What image from the world of nature has been used earlier in the context? The image of small things recoiling with fear has been used to refer to the shock resulting from the death of great men or the fall of big trees in a forest. What happens when great trees fall? The impact of the fall of great trees is felt by all. Animals and small creatures also get frightened. The distant lands and rocks on them shudder. We breathe briefly. What does the poet mean by this? The poet has used the words we breathe briefly to say that it becomes difficult even to have normal breath when great men die. It happens because of the shock and jolt caused by the death of and the sense of loss resulting from it. Question 4. What kind of clarity does the poet refer to? The poet refers to the feeling of hurt people experience at the loss of a great soul. It reminds us of the promises we could not fulfill for them and the way we could not show our intended respect and kindness towards them during their lifetime. What do we come to remember when great men die? We remember all the unsaid words and undone works that we could do while the great men were alive. We also recollect the days spent in their company. This is the passage for stanza 4. Our memory suddenly sharpened. Examiners, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Question 1. What happens when great trees fall according to the poet? When great trees fall, they cause a commotion everywhere. The jolt of the fall is felt far and wide. The animals and creatures in the forest feel shocked. Why does it become difficult to breathe when great souls die? When great souls die, it becomes difficult to breathe because of the shock felt due to the loss. What do we come to remember suddenly when great souls die? We come to realize that we have not been as kind towards the departed souls as we could be. In what state of mind is the speaker here? The speaker is in a sorrowful and repentant mood. Explain the phrase promised works never taken in its context. Promised works never taken in the given context means the failure to redeem the pledges taken. It also means the undone work that could be completed during the lifetime of the great men. This is the passage 5. Great souls die and our reality bound to them takes leave of us. Our souls dependent upon their nurture now shrink wizened. What does the fall of great trees symbolize in the poem as suggested earlier in the context? The fall of great trees symbolizes the death of great men. What do we remember when great souls die? When great souls die, we remember them and the way we could do better things in their company. We also remember our failures and unkept promises. What happens to our reality when great souls die? The death of great souls dissociates our reality linked with them. It moves away from us. We no longer feel related to them as before. Their departure leaves us emotionally shattered. What does the poet mean by wizened souls here? The wizened souls in the given context means shriveled and shattered souls of the people who feel the loss of the great men. What does the word nurture suggest in the context? The word nurture suggests that the great souls used to be a source of strength and support to the people. Their death takes away their strength and leaves these people helpless. This is the passage 6. Our minds formed and informed by their radiance fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. Question 1. How has the poet compared the world of nature with the human world earlier in the context? The poet has compared the human and the natural world by depicting the impact of the fall of a big tree on the animals in a forest and the way it is similar to the impact of a great man's death on the human world. What happens when someone emotionally attached to us depart forever? We feel shocked and emotionally shattered. We remember the days spent in the company of our nears and dears. All this is felt deeply when someone near to us depart forever. How are our minds affected by great souls? Our minds are shattered and sorrowful. We feel reduced to miserable souls as the shock of the death of our dear ones affect our mind deeply. In what state of mind are we thrown when great souls die? We are thrown in a shock. Our mind fails to work properly. The mind goes in a deeply disturbed state. Explain the reference to the ignorance of dark, cold caves. Our minds are shaped by the intellect and guidance of great men. After their death, we feel thrust into dark dungeons of ignorance. Passage 7. And when great souls die, after a period peace blooms, slowly and always, irregularly, spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. What is suggested by the fall of great trees earlier in the context? The fall of great trees in the given context suggests the death of great men and the way their death has a far-reaching impact on the natural and the human world. How do we feel when great men die? We feel emotionally shattered and deeply pained when great men die. The loss of the great souls appear unbearable. How does the poet portray time as a healer here? The poet suggests that time acts as a great healer. The death of great men causes deep shock and immense sorrow. Gradually, time helps us in accepting the loss of great souls and a kind of calm prevails in our mind. What kind of spaces are referred to here? The spaces here refers to the parts of our mind which are fulfilled with sufferings and pain over the death of great men. These corners of our mind start soothing down with the passage of time and we turn calm and peaceful. How do we feel during those spaces? The spaces, that is the haunting feelings of loss of the departed dear ones, make our thoughts sterile and full of despair. We remember the dead with the painful intensity. Now this is the last passage, passage number 8. Our senses restored, never to be the same, whisper to us, they existed, we can be and be better, for they existed. Question 1. How do we feel when the persons attached to us die? We feel shocked, shattered and sorrowful when someone attached to us dies. We remember the time spent in the company of the dear departed ones. Now this passage is very important from the point of view of examination. So when do we feel at peace? When great souls die? The death of great souls, the death of great people affect us deeply. Our mind feels disturbed and heart is full of pain, but a sense of calm returns to us after some time. It happens with the passage of time and the moment we realize that if great men like our dear ones have existed, we too can be like them. Why do our senses never achieve the former state of normalcy after the death of great souls? Our senses never achieve the former state of normalcy after the death of great souls because we always remember their existence and feel the loss. What is the significance of the repetition of words in line 3 and 4? The repetition of the words is intended to emphasize the idea that we, that is people, will certainly be better by learning from the lives of great men. The ending of the poem is quite positive. How? The ending of the poem gives the message of acceptance of loss with the hope of a better future. It makes the ending positive. So that's the end. Thank you so much for listening to the video. And I hope once again I would request you that please do subscribe my channel and help me to reach 100k subscribers. That's all for today. See you in the next video. Till then, stay safe, stay secure. Thank you.